Hello, everybody. My name is Captain Nitin Joshi. I'm a behavior transformation coach and a leadership development partner. In other words, I'm a soft skill trainer. Now, what exactly do you mean by soft skills, or what are soft skills? I'm sure if I randomly ask any one of you what soft skills are, you'll be able to tell me what soft skills are, because not only will most of you have had exposure to soft skills, you will also have been reading about them. You will have undergone training on soft skills, either in your college or in your company or at your own level. When I was a student in 80s and 90s, the term soft skills was almost unheard of. The maximum that we knew about was communication skills and something known as personality development. And we used to have lectures on communication skills in our college. But soft skills as a concept was largely unknown and unheard of. I heard the word soft skills for the first time when I was in my 30s. That is when I heard that the companies have started taking soft skill training very seriously, and rightfully so. And why only companies? Nowadays, even colleges and freelance education institutions, online forums, and of course, all companies, they take soft skill training very seriously, because there is a realization that soft skills are extremely, extremely important for a person's overall success in professional life. Of course, when you really look at soft skills in depth, you realize that these skills are necessary not only for success in one's professional life, but they're equally important for success in our personal lives as well. But of course, today, when I talk about soft skills and when I talk about the importance of various soft skills, I'll be talking more in reference to one's professional life. But please understand, you can apply this even to your personal life. So I come back to what are soft skills. And many of you will say soft skills are personality development. Many of you say soft skills are behavioral skills. Many of you will say that soft skills are how you think and how you act and your attitude. And all the answers would be equally correct. Soft skills, if I have to sum it up in the most easy possible way, soft skills are the various aspects of a person's behavior and personality that dictate how the person interacts with others and how the other people perceive this person, and ultimately how much this person succeeds in one's life. Now, let me just share my screen with you and explain to you with the help of my PPT. There we go. Right. So if you see this, what I'm showing you on the screen right now in front of you, this is the soft skill pyramid. Now, this soft skill pyramid basically is it's a research that has been done by many universities and many foundations and many freelance bodies, and it has been discovered through this research that a majority of our success in our lives, in our professional lives, depends on soft skills. Now, this is not to in any way belittle the importance of technical skills or your work related skills. Those skills are, of course, the most basic thing that you need, and without them, without these technical skills, nobody can hope to go anywhere in life professionally. But this is just to highlight the importance of soft skills and to let you understand that soft skills are actually much more important than what we have traditionally been giving them the importance for. Okay. And forget this pyramid that you see in front of you. If you go back into your professional lives and if you go back to your workplaces, you will realize that the person that you like to work the most with and the person who is ultimately most successful is a person who is good at building interpersonal relations, a person who is good at leading and managing teams and creating teams before that, and a person who is very good at managing one's time and managing one's stress and handling a crisis. Not necessarily the person who is always good at technical skills, because technical skills are things that can be learned on the job, but your personality and your behavioral aspects are things that get more or less crystallized by the time you enter your professional life, and then it becomes, as time passes, it becomes more and more difficult to change these aspects and change your behavior or change your thinking. And that's why so much stress on soft skills. Right. So again, coming back to the question, what are soft skills? They are personal qualities that enable someone to interact fruitfully with others in personal as well as professional sphere. Now, here the catchword is interact fruitfully. Simple interaction, anyone can do. Simple interaction, we do all the time. The idea is to interact fruitfully. That is to say, to interact in a way that your work gets done, to interact in a way that, if you're working for an organization or a company, then the goals of the organization or the company are fruitfully met and in the larger interest of the whole group or the organization. That is the key thing, to interact fruitfully. Otherwise, we are interacting all the time. But ask yourself, are all the interactions fruitful? And then it will tell you a lot about soft skills. Right. These are the qualities that determine how we project ourselves. Now, it's a simple, if I have to put it across in a little bit of a philosophical way, I will say that, how people behave with us is a reflection of how we behave with them. It's a reflection of how we project ourselves in front of the people. And for people to behave well with you, for your team and your colleagues and other people around you to behave well with you, you need to project yourself well. And how you project yourself determines to a great extent how people perceive you, how they interact with you, and how ultimately successful you are. So these are the various qualities. Simple thing again, I will urge you always to go back to your own life and to think of people that you know and people that you work with. If someone is very pleasant and someone is very good and someone is really makes it a pleasure to be around them, then you like to work with them and you like to speak highly of them and you like to recommend them to others, right? So that works both ways. So it also talks about how you make others feel and how ultimately others look forward to helping you or working with you. So let me tell you some examples of soft skills. Verbal communication skills, non-verbal communication skills. We'll be talking a little bit about communication skills as we go ahead. I'll be elaborating a little bit about what exactly these communication skills are and what is the importance of these different communication skills. Then, of course, interpersonal skills. Now, interpersonal skills is a very, I would say, a very big and a very all-encompassing set of skills. Interpersonal skills consists of your, you can also call it interpersonal skills, or how you manage your interactions with people, how you handle crisis, how you handle complaints, how you handle a dispute between your team members when you are at a leadership level. So as the name suggests, interpersonal, these are skills that you exercise while handling people, particularly in a professional context. I would say it is more of a leadership skill. Then of course comes grooming. How will you present yourself, how well groomed you are. Simple things that we were taught as small children, that you should comb your hair and brush your teeth and cut your nails and so on and so forth. These things, they never really lose their importance or go out of fashion as we go ahead in life. These are extremely important skill. Then comes etiquettes. Etiquettes is nothing but your behavior, right from using the simple polite words like thank you, sorry, and please, to how you help others, and how you conduct yourself in a public place, how you conduct yourself in a professional setting vis-a-vis how you conduct yourself in a personal setting. And what are the kinds of manners that you basically display as per the occasion. Self-management, extremely important. How do you manage yourself, how you manage your own anger, how you manage your own stress, how you manage your own time, how you, in other words, how you basically how self-aware you are, how well you know yourself, and how well you can manage yourself and conduct yourself. That's extremely important. Then comes teamwork. Life is a teamwork. I'll tell you a little bit more about this as we go along. How good you are at building teams, and how good you are at managing teams, and how good you are at getting your team to do whatever the work that needs to be done. Leadership, extremely important, part and parcel of teamwork, part and parcel of team building. And at one level or the other in our lives, all of us will do leadership at some level or the other. And it determines a lot, not only your own success, but also the success of people whom you lead. Then, of course, comes emotional intelligence or emotional quotient. This is, I would not say a very new concept, but this is something that has been understood very newly as a soft skill, and it's very important. We all know about IQ, the intelligence quotient, and but emotional intelligence, or the importance of understanding emotions and handling them well, is recognized nowadays, and a lot of stress is laid on emotional intelligence. So the question is, do we need soft skills? Now, it's okay, it's one thing to talk about soft skills, and it's one thing to say that okay, soft skills should be there, and we should conduct training on soft skills and so on and so forth. But the question is, do we need soft skills? Well, of course, yes, we do. Yes, we do. I told you in the beginning that colleges and companies nowadays are laying more and more stress on soft skills, and rightfully so. And of course, we need soft skills. Why do we need soft skills? To communicate effectively. Okay, without effective communication, we are nowhere. To build better and more effective teams, as I told you, life is a teamwork, and all the work that we do, all the work that we ever do, will be done as a part of a team. In your professional lives, you will not be doing any work alone. You will always be working in a team. Okay, it is always going to be a teamwork. It is always going to be a team effort. So to build a better and effective team, you need soft skills, because it talks a lot about your ability to understand people, to understand people's emotions, to understand people's skills and their strengths, to develop them, to bring them together, and for the people to trust you, and then to handle different situations. So you'll realize as we go along that these different skills, these different soft skills, are very closely interconnected with each other. You if you see a successful person, the successful person in any walk of life will have a blend of many of these skills. It is not like that I have only one skill and I can do my work based only on that skill. It is always a blend, a different blend of these skills to sort out your interpersonal differences. Okay, so wherever there is a team, wherever there is a group of people working together, there are going to be differences. uh, it rarely happens. The best of the teams, they have their differences, and that's only natural. What really matters is how well is the team able to sort out these differences. Okay, to be effective and efficient. Okay, right now, what do you mean by effective and efficient? Effective, of course, means doing the work that is needed to be done, and efficient means doing that work on time. So being effective or being efficient, or being only effective and only efficient in themselves, are not enough. You have to be both. That is how the work gets done. Not only the work gets done correctly, but on time. To project oneself effectively, I've already told you that the importance of projecting yourself effectively, how important it is. You have to project yourself effectively. You are, you know you need to be able to ensure that people look at you and people perceive you in a way that they feel like working with you. To achieve one's full potential, extremely important. Many people who don't achieve their full potential, they are left with a feeling that I could have done a little bit more, or I could have done better, had it not been for a few factors. So if those factors would have included soft skills, maybe we would have had more successful people around us. And last but not the least, of course, to be happy, because ultimately in life, that is what we want. At the end of the day, end of the work day, or end of any other day, we want to be happy. And when you have good soft skills, and when you are doing well professionally and personally, it leads to happiness. In the end, you feel that yes, I have done well for myself and I'm happy. So that's what is ensured by having good soft skills. So let us look at communication as a soft skill. We are communicating all the time. We cannot spend even a single day without communicating. It's extremely, extremely important. If you think that you can get away without communicating, I would urge you, please try and spend at least one day with absolutely no communication with others. It becomes very difficult. So communication as a soft skill, extremely important. uh, I am responsible for what I say, not for the other person, not what the other person understands. This is, we all must have heard this. However, making sure that the other person understands me correctly is in my interest, right? Because when I'm interacting with people, when I'm saying something to people, when I'm saying something that is of work importance for others, it is in my own interest that the other people understand me correctly. Otherwise, the work will not get done, and I'll have to repeatedly tell them. So, when I communicate with others, when I say something to others, it is in my interest that they understand properly. Okay, because you cannot not communicate. Okay, this sentence is very, very important, and if you really think about it, you will realize that this sentence has very, very deep meaning at various levels. Firstly, of course, it means that you cannot spend your time without communicating to get your work done, and to spend a fruitful day even in your personal realm. You need to communicate. You have to communicate. You cannot not communicate. Without communication, your work. But at a deeper level, it also means that it is practically not possible to not communicate. You are communicating all the time, whether you like it or not. Even if you decide to remain quiet and not talk to people and not have anything to do with them, okay, or not give them any inputs, and if you're a complete introvert, people around you are still going to perceive you in some way. Okay, people around you are still going to perceive you and create an image of you. And this, in your personal life, you might be indifferent to it, but again, in your professional life, you need to be able to communicate yourself in a proper way, because that is how the people are going to perceive you. That is how, even if you decide that I will not interact with anyone, and even if you decide that I will not have absolutely anything to do with anyone, and I will not say anything to anyone, and I will not talk to anyone, and I will not really give any communication outputs to anyone, still the environment perceives you, or the environment creates an image of you. So by that I mean you cannot not communicate. So might as well have a control over what kind of an image you're communicating. So communication is the ABC of soft skills. All soft skills, all your personality, the complete, I would say, gamut of your soft skills and your personality is based on your communication. How you communicate, how you put out your ideas and thoughts and beliefs to the world. Having things in your mind, having ideas in your mind in itself is not enough. What is needed is to be able to project them effectively in front of the world, and how you project them matters a lot. So communication is the ABC of all soft skills. We have to communicate all the time. I mean, I have been over this before, that you cannot even think of spending a single day without communicating. It just doesn't happen. It's simply not possible. You have to communicate at all times in your professional as well as your personal life. Try spending a day without communicating and you will know exactly what I mean. So might as well learn how to communicate effectively, learn how to communicate correctly. Okay, it's very important, because again, whether it is an interview where you know the answer to all the questions and technically you are the most sound person around, the best candidate around, unless you are able to communicate yourself and tell the interviewers that yes, I know the answers to all your questions, how will they know? Or whether if you're working in a company and you have the best idea and the best solution to some crisis, but unless that solution or that idea comes out of your mind and out in front of people, it is of no use. Nobody will know. Okay. uh, so many, we see so many great ideas that have changed the world, but I'm sure there are many more greater ideas out there which are not known to us because they are right now in somebody's mind. That person has not been able to communicate those ideas effectively to us. So it is very important that you communicate those ideas to people. If you don't do that, well, sorry, it's not happening. Okay, the idea remains in your mind and goes with you. So that's extremely important. It's a cornerstone of all soft skills. As I said, that as we go ahead and we look at different soft skills one after the other, you'll realize that communication is a part and parcel of every soft skill. It's a cornerstone of every soft skill. Without effective communication, I always tell people that if you have any problem in your life and randomly go into any problem that you must have faced in your life, right, or that you're facing in your life right now, it can be a problem with a person at home, it can be a problem with a colleague, it can be a problem with some random stranger. And if you really do an honest root cause analysis of that problem, you will realize that in majority of these cases, the problem has occurred because of a breakdown in communication. The problem occurred because at some level, communication did not happen properly. Okay. And so that's why if you are able to fix your communication, you will be able to avoid most of your problems. And even if they do arise, like they sometimes will, you will be able to, fix them properly and on time. A very, very important aspect of communication skills is our ability to listen. Most of us think that communication is only about talking and telling the other person. Very few people really understand the importance of listening. Okay, that is to say, getting an input, because communication is always a two-way process. It is never a one-way process. It is, it is never like it's only one person saying something and the other person or the other group of people taking it in. It is a two-way process. It always has to be a two-way process. And for that process to become a two-way process, listening is the most indispensable part of the communication process. Sadly, it is also the most ignored. Okay. Whenever we go for any interaction with anyone, we always go prepared to talk or prepared to tell the other person. Very few times do we go prepared to listen. And that is where most of our problems come in. I told you sometime back that if you do a root cause analysis of problems that you may be facing right now, you will realize that a majority of these problems happen because of a lack of communication. Now, within the lack of communication, if you do a further breakdown, you will again realize that a majority of this breakdown in communication is lack of listening. People are not listening. I don't want to listen. Why should I listen? I will only talk. Let the other person listen to me. Okay. Because we are not open to listening, because we are not open to understanding and taking in what the other person wants to tell us. So listening is an extremely important skill. And there is a difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is a very passive sort of an activity. Listening is more active, where you not only listen, where you even process what is being told to you. You try to understand, you try to, put yourself in the other person's shoes, and you look at the other person's perspective. That is what hearing is all about. Body language, extremely important. Now, let me share a very interesting statistic with you. When we talk, the percentage that you see on your screen in front of you right now is the amount of impact that different aspects of communication have on people around you. So words are the verbal communication, the tonality is the non-verbal communication, and body language, as the name suggests, is body language. Okay. Now, this might come as a surprise to some of you that body language is the most impactful thing, but actually the fact remains that please observe this consciously, that when you are interacting with a person face to face, or for that matter even online, where you can see the person, subconsciously the person's body language tells us a lot. And when I say body language, I mean the way the person is groomed, whether the way the person is sitting, the amount of interest the person is taking, the amount of attention the person is paying to that whole interaction, whether the person is looking at you or not looking at you, or how the person is behaving. It matters a lot. So words have a 7% impact, tonality has a 35% impact, and body language has a 58% impact. Let me elaborate a little bit on this. The importance of words in a communication. It is very important to use the right words while communicating in any place. Okay, depending on who your audience is, depending on what you have to say, and more importantly, whom you have to say it to, and how rightly you are choosing your words. How appropriately are you choosing your words to communicate to the other person what you need to say. Now, let me share an example with you. Okay. Which one of these do you think is a more appropriate way of talking in a formal setup? Okay. You want to tell someone that their proposal is very good, but you need to rework the financials. So your proposal is interesting, but we need to look at the financials again. Or if you say something like, no, your proposal is cool, but your financials suck big time, man. Now, in a very formal setup, of course, it goes without saying that the first way of saying is the more appropriate way, because you might be conveying the same message, but well, your way of saying your words are, in the first case, they are more appropriate to a formal setting. Okay. Another importance of words is, many of us must have been stuck in some situation where the other person is talking about their profession and using all technical jargon that you don't understand, and the person just goes on and on and on using technical terms and technical abbreviations which you understand nothing of, because you're not from their profession. Instead of that, if they simplify it and put it across to you in a way that you understand, you will be in a better position to understand this. Okay. So please keep this in mind the next time you are interacting with someone who is not from the same background as you are, and will not necessarily be well versed with the technical terms of your profession or your line of work. You need to be mindful of this and make sure that you simplify. In other words, use the correct words that the other person will understand and the other person will be able to relate to. Then comes the tonality. What is exactly is tonality? You need to mind your tonality when you talk. It is also called paralanguage. It is how you say what you say. Okay. So many times when a person tells you something in a very loud voice, more than what the person is saying to you, you are upset that the person is shouting at you. And the first thing you tell the person is, don't shout, or mind your tone. Don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to me in that tone of voice. More than the content of what the other person has said, what upsets you is the way the person is saying it. The way the person is stressing on certain words, or the way the person is, really increasing their volume while talking to you. That is what upsets you more. And that is the importance of tonality. Okay. It consists of things like volume, your speed, your tone, the pitch of your voice. These are different aspects of voice modulation, which is extremely important. Nobody likes a person shouting at you, but in a certain context, if you're in a very noisy environment and somebody shouts to tell you something, you will understand that, yes, because of the noise, this person has to shout and tell me. You will not be upset. But in a very quiet environment, if somebody comes and shouts at you, then that shout has a different meaning. Okay. The speed with which somebody talks. Okay. If somebody talks very fast in a way that every word doesn't come out of their mouth very clearly, and you're able to, you're not able to, really understand what they're saying, and the words get jumbled up, then it really doesn't, convey the message properly to the other person. And well, you are all confused, right? The tone of your voice, I already told you, the tone of the voice is extremely important. Okay. Rather than, if I say, I mean, right now I'm talking to you in a certain tone because I want all of you to relate to me. But if I get into a more formal tone, and if I start talking to you in a more formal manner, I don't think many of you would like to really relate to it. Or I don't think many of you will take very seriously, because, the way a person says something really matters. The way a person says something tells you about the mood of that person. And then, of course, the pitch of the voice. What kind of voice do you have? What, how heavy is your voice, or how light is your voice? It also has an impact on the context. Okay. It also consists of how you use your pauses. Sometimes when you say something very surprising or devastating to the people, you have to give a pause for them to process and understand what you have said. Sometimes when you are explaining a very new or a heavy subject to people, you need to be able to give them a pause for them to understand what exactly you are trying to tell them. So that is about your tonality. Okay. Let me tell you this with the help of an example. Okay. Let me give you a very simple example. You see the sentence at the bottom of the screen. I did not say that he stole my money. Now, depending on what word I stress, the meaning of the sentence changes. Okay. If I say, I did not say that he stole my money. Now I'm stressing the word I. So it means I did not say, somebody else said. If I say, I did not say that he stole my money, I'm stressing the word say. So it means I did not say that he stole my money. I implied, or maybe I, did something else which can mean that he stole my money. Or if I stress the word he, I say, I did not say that he stole my money. So it means I did not say that he stole my money. Somebody else stole my money. Okay. Or if I stress upon the word stole, I did not say that he stole my money. So I did not say that he stole my money. He, maybe borrowed it or took it by mistake. I did not say that he stole my money. Okay. So not my money, somebody else's money. Okay. And in the end, if I stress the word money, if I say, I did not say that he stole my money, then not my money, or maybe he stole something else. If I say this sentence in a very affirmative way, I did not say that he stole my money, it means that I'm very sure that I did not say that he stole my money. But if I say this sentence slowly with pauses, I did not say that he stole my money, it means that I'm not very sure, I'm not very confident about what I'm saying. Maybe I did say, maybe I did not say. So the sentence remains the same, but depending on what word I stress and depending on how I say it, the complete meaning of the sentence and the complete, the situation around it changes. And that's very, very important. Last but not the least is the body language. We all subconsciously observe the body language of a person when we are talking to someone. Next time, as I told you, you're interacting with someone, please, uh, see that person's body language, and you will realize how important it is that and it works both ways. People observe us too. Okay, let me try and show you with the help of a little bit of an example. I'll just stop sharing the screen for a while. Now suppose that we are interacting face to face. Suppose that I'm not sharing any PPT with you, but we are interacting with each other face to face. Now, instead of looking at you, if I sit like this, if my body language is like this, and if I am talking to you, importance of soft skills and soft skills, what does it convey? More than what I say, you will see, this guy is sitting there, face palming, and he looks so uninterested. You will not be focusing on the content of what I say. You will say that this guy is himself sitting like this with his head, holding his head. Maybe he's not feeling well, or maybe he's not convinced about what he's saying, and you will lose interest. Or if instead of looking at you and looking at the screen while I'm talking, I'm busy with my mobile and I'm sitting like this, and and I'm keep talking, importance of soft skills, and look at the PPT, and obviously it is going to be a put off for you. Now imagine the same thing in a face-to-face interaction. If you come to meet me, if I've given you an appointment, and if you come to meet me in my office and you're sitting in front of me, and instead of looking at you, I'm busy doing something else over there, and I'm busy attending a phone call, and I'm busy looking at other people, and in between, if I get time, I'm maybe giving you the attention. I might be agreeing with what you say, I might be in complete agreement with what you say, but my body language will be a big put off. Now, how many times we have been in a situation like this? I'm sure many times. Nowadays, thanks to our mobiles, which are a big distraction for most of us, many of us encounter a situation where you're trying to hold a conversation with someone, and the other person is simply not interested or doesn't look interested, and as a result, it is their body language that is a major put off. And at a time like this, you don't really uh, pay attention to what the other person has to say. The body language is such a big put off that you just don't want to be there in the conversation. And now understand that this works both ways. Just like we observe other people's body language, other people observe our body language, and if we might be put off by the other person's negative body language, it is very much likely that the other person might get put off by our negative body language. So please keep that in mind, that body language is very important. Subconsciously, everyone observes it, and it affects our communication a lot. Written communication. Now, written communication is a very, very important part and parcel of our work life. Everything, all the workplaces, all the professions, all the companies, they involve a lot of documentation and a lot of paperwork, a lot of emailing, a lot of memos, a lot of messages. And again, written communication is extremely important, because that is how most of the companies conduct their business. Rather than verbal communication, things like, proposals or purchase orders or work orders have to be given in written. It is also equally important because anything that goes into written is on record. It is there for everyone to see. So whatever you put down on writing, whatever you put down on record has a lot of importance on your work life. Uh, when you write, you are projecting an idea onto a paper. Okay. It indicates a person's way of working. So written communication is important at various levels, because not only what you write, but how you write, and uh, how do you treat your documents, or how well do you maintain your documents. Not only the grammatical correctness or the spelling correctness of your documents, but also the way that you have kept them, the way that you have maintained them, the neatness and the proper maintenance of your documents. It tells a lot about how a person works. So written communication is important at various levels. Written communication nowadays, of course, also means electronic communications, emails, and soft copies, but it also involves hard copies. Okay. And like a body language, it is also observed subconsciously. So, if you receive an email from someone, or if you receive a hard copy of a document from someone, not only the content of what is there in that document, but also more than that, how neat the document is presented, how correct is the grammar, how correct are the spellings. These things, they matter a lot. And you have to then, and then again, as I said, it works both ways. So when you are sending a written communication to anyone, the correctness of that communication will matter a lot. Okay. It is, and especially when you're working for a company, it is not just you yourself, but you're also projecting the image of the company. So that matters a lot. Okay. Presentation skills. Now coming to presentation skills, in presentation skills, I would say this is something that nobody escapes. Okay. Everybody, every single one of you, right from the day that you appear for your interview, an interview is in a way a presentation. You're presenting yourself to whatever level you reach in your professional life, till whatever post you go, or even if you are a business owner, if you are an entrepreneur, presentation is something that you will have to do all the time. Again, there is no escape from this. Okay. And you know having maximum impact with minimum efforts, that is the essence of presentation skills. So you should be able to put your presentation across. You might be called in to present your proposal in front of the company. You might be called in to present your own business. If you're a business owner, you might be called in to present a plan for your team. You might be called in to present your ideas in front of your team. How you are able to present them, it can be a speech, a PPT, or even a one-to-one presentation. If you're meeting, let's say, if you're a business owner and if you're meeting a financer to sponsor your business, or for some other kind of financials, so it can be a one-to-one presentation also. So presentation is the essence of all basic soft skills, like communication, body language, grooming, because communication is of course there. It also talks about how well you have understood the other person. It also talks about how well you have understood your audience. It also talks about how well you have understood the topic itself that you're presenting to them. Have you understood the topic in the first place? If yes, how well? How well groomed you are? Because as I said, people will subconsciously notice your body language and your grooming. And you might have the best of the proposals, but if you go there shabbily presenting yourself, it is going to be a very big put off. So please keep this in mind. Presentation is the essence of all basic soft skills. And everybody has to do presentation at some point of time or the other in their life. Nobody escapes it. Nobody escapes it, and everybody has to do it. So might as well learn how to do it well. Then of course comes public speaking. Just like with presentation skills, public speaking is also equally important, if not more important. And it is also something that not everyone escapes. Everybody has to do at some point of time or the other. So might as well learn how to do it well. There's no escape from this one. Okay. uh, in professional life, everybody has to do public speaking. Maybe even in your personal life, you have to do public speaking. uh, it is not just enough, as I said, to have a sound technical knowledge of the subject, but if you're not able to project it, if you're not able to tell the people that it doesn't really you know uh, serve your purpose well. So public speaking, again, a very very important aspect, a very very important aspect of your communication skills, and need to learn how to do it well, because as I said, there is no escaping this. Then comes business communication. Business communication is again in itself an independent subject in soft skills. Business communication is all about your communication in the workplace and your business related or your work related communication. uh, in workplace, again, I would urge you, those of you who are in your professional life, please go back to your workplace. Those of you who are still students, please go back to your elders and your professors, your parents. Okay. Or if you may have had some experience with an internship somewhere, you may have worked somewhere, you will understand the importance of communicating properly in a corporate environment. Extremely important. Okay. And here, this is where not only your the content and the way that you communicate comes into picture. Here, a lot of your etiquettes and mannerisms also matter. Okay. So it is not just how well you're able to convey your message or how accurately you're able to talk on the phone. It is about the etiquettes, how you behave. Okay. It is not just how nicely you're able to write your emails and how nice you are with your English or your grammatical correctness. It is also about following some basic etiquettes and politeness, office mannerisms. It is not just about how uh, well you're able to do your work. It is about how well you behave in the office with people. And then of course there are things like letters and memos, etc., which so that is the whole gamut of business communication. Consists not only of being able to communicate correctly and effectively and accurately. It also talks a lot about how you behave in the office and what kind of an environment do you create around yourself in your workplace. That is something that matters a lot. Now, for students, it's very very important. Those of you who are students, uh, stepping into your professional life in some time, it's a different ball game altogether. From student life getting into your professional life, first getting in, and then of course once you are in your professional life, then being a professional. These are very very different things, and the transition can of course often be frightening. uh, if you're going to appear for an interview, okay, that is the first major hurdle that many students face, and that is where many students, they stumble, and they are not able to really do well because not their fault. They haven't been guided properly. So your first interview, it is very very obvious that you get the jitters. Okay. So you need things like resume making, interview skills, and group discussion. Why resume making? Because resume is you going in front of the selectors before the real you walks in. Okay. Your resume is a document that talks about you. It talks about your educational and your professional profile. It talks about your experience. It talks about your knowledge. It talks about what you know. It talks about what you have done. It talks about your achievements in the in the academic and professional spheres. And please keep in mind, your resume is like a written communication. So in addition to the content of the resume, everything that I said about written communication applies over here. Okay. How grammatically correct is your resume? How presentable is your resume? Okay. Looking at your resume, what does the selector feel about you? Okay. Because the way you treat your resume talks a lot about how you treat your documents. Okay. It is the most important at that point of time. It is the most important document in your life. How are you treating it? How are you presenting it? How are you projecting it? It talks a lot. So you need to it is, in a way, you are presenting yourself. It is not just a piece of paper that you're putting there in front of them. It is how you are projecting yourself. Okay. Your resume is you, so treat it that way. And uh, you know a very well made resume can give you an advantage in the interview, On the other hand, a shabbily made resume will ensure that you're rejected even before you walk into that room. So please keep in mind, uh, creating a good resume, extremely important, indispensable part of your selection process. Okay, it is more than a piece of document. It is you, as I said, it is you there in front of them in a form of a paper. So how does it look? How are you making yourself look? It's extremely important. And how does it feel? Looking at that resume, holding that resume in the hand, what do they feel about you? What kind of a feeling they get about you? What kind of a person are we dealing with? Interview skills, extremely important. Interview, I have been in many interviews. I have given many interviews as a candidate, and I have conducted a lot of interviews, and I know it can be a very frightening process. It can really shake a person up. And one of the main reasons why people are afraid of interviews is because they don't know what an interview is. They don't know why the interview is being conducted in the first place, or what do they want to know, and how you are expected to behave. The best way to prepare yourself for an interview is to be able to answer all these questions. When you go for the interview, you know a word about the selection process. When you are going for a selection process, in any company, those people, they have a very limited amount of time to judge you, to assess you, and to know you. And in that limited amount of time, right from your resume being in front of them, which they will read in a few minutes, to your interview, to your group discussion, you have to be able to put your best foot forward. And for that, first you need to understand what exactly an interview is, and why the interview is being conducted, and the do's and don'ts. Once these things become clear to you, most of your fear will disappear. So I would urge you, if you're a student and if you're on the verge of going for an interview, please don't go unprepared. Okay, because again, you might be academically the best, your technical knowledge of your subject might be the best, but if you are not able to project yourself over there, if you are not able to talk over there, and tell them what you know, and if you're not able to put out that knowledge in front of them, it doesn't really matter what you know. They will not know how good you are. A group discussion, you know every work day consists of a group discussion. Why do they have group discussions as a part of the selection process? It's very important to know that, because a group discussion tells a lot about how you behave in a team. A group discussion tells a lot about your knowledge of a subject. A group discussion talks a lot about your ability to convince people and put your ideas across. A group discussion talks a lot about your ability to work in group dynamics. And every work day consists of group discussion. Okay, in fact, if you really look at it, all of us have group discussions every day. And when I say that, what I mean is that we are all a part of, when you're discussing at with a group of friends about where to go for the party, or when you're discussing with your family about whether you would like to go out or not, that's all a group discussion. But of course, when a group discussion is being done as a part of a selection process, there is a certain mannerism and etiquettes that you need to follow, because as I said, group discussion talks about how will you work in a team. And I've told you in the beginning that life is a teamwork. Every work that you do, every workplace is a teamwork. You're not going to be doing any work alone. All the work that you do is always going to be done in a team. It is always going to be done as a part and parcel of a team, and you need to be able to follow the team etiquettes over there. And a group discussion talks a lot about how you behave in a team, how you are able to conduct yourself. So the whole idea is, know these things before you walk into that selection process, into that group discussion. That is when you will be able to conduct yourself well. Then I come to the all important aspect of grooming. How you present yourself, how you dress, not only for your interview, but overall, how you present yourself, and how well you maintain and keep yourself, again, determines your success a lot. Now, if you see the two pictures on the screen in front of you, and if I have to ask you, which person would you prefer to be your doctor, majority of you, I'm sure, will say that the person on the left, the person who's wearing that doctor's lab coat and the stethoscope. Chances are that the person on the right might be a better doctor than the person on the left. But right now, because the person on the left is better groomed. uh, Looking at these pictures purely, majority of the people will say that the person on the left is our choice for a doctor. You know, then again, if you want to select one of these two people for your assisting you in your office work, whom will you select? Well, again, I would say majority of you would select the person on the left, because this person looks dressed for office work. Okay, the person on the right might be more efficient, might be more competent, might be more sincere. But right now, if you see the way the person is dressed, the way the person is, uh, has, being in a very casual sort of an attire, that person doesn't give a very good, appearance of, being a good person to assist you in your office work. So that is the importance of grooming. That is the importance of how you need to groom yourself and present yourself. And these things, they matter. I mean, these things, they matter in your work life. They they determine your success to a great extent. And as I said some time back, it's all about projecting yourself. How are you projecting yourself? What kind of an image are you projecting of yourself in front of these people? That matters a lot. And grooming is a very, very important part and parcel. You can say it's a part of your body language. How well you dress up and how well you appear for work or for any situation talks about how seriously you take that situation, or how seriously you take that work. And that really matters a lot. So you need to pay a lot of attention to your grooming and be well groomed and well presented. Then of course comes self management. The more you go through life, the more you understand that uh, self is the only thing that you can manage. Rather than managing the situation or managing the people around you, if you are good at managing yourself, you are good at managing most of the situations. If you can manage yourself, and this is something, again, if I have to give it a little bit of a philosophical perspective, this is something that comes with time. And you realize, you make the transition from being a good competent leader to a great leader when you realize that you only manage yourself. You cannot really manage others, or you cannot really manage the situation per se. You have to only try and manage yourself. Once you do that, most of your problems get sorted out. And the majority, the main part of self management consists of these three kinds of management: anger management, stress management, and time management. If you can manage these three things, I would say 99% of your self management is sorted. So you need to learn how to manage yourself. Very, very important skill for your success in life. I would again say that those of you who are already in your professional life will know this. Again, I would urge you to go back into any situation that you might have found yourself in, and you will realize that a simple act of managing yourself differently would have brought out different results. If you really go back and try to remember a situation that didn't work out so well for you, and if you do an honest analysis, you will realize that simply by managing yourself differently or by behaving differently, you could have ensured a different outcome for yourself, in that situation. And this is so relatable to so many of us. Uh, Anger is a natural thing. Normally we, the kind of culture that we thrive in, anger is looked upon as a very negative thing. And we are always told, don't be angry, and you should never get angry. But it's a very natural thing. Feeling angry, or the feeling of getting angry, it's a very natural thing. It is as natural as feeling hungry or feeling sleepy. It's a natural thing. We are human beings, and in some situations we simply do get angry. But what matters is how will you manage that anger. There's nothing wrong about getting angry, but every time you get angry, if you explode with rage, and if you really go around projecting it on the people around you, and it affects your work and your focus and your concentration, that is what is causes the hurt. It is not the anger that really hurts you. It is how you control that anger. It is like an energy. Anger is like an energy. You can either let it explode, or you can channelize it fruitfully and get work done. So that is about managing your anger. I would again say getting angry is not wrong thing. As a human being, it's a very natural emotion that comes up in a certain situation. But what matters is how you are able to manage that anger and direct that anger on and control that anger rather than letting that anger control you. Then comes stress management. Again, stress is part and parcel of modern life, especially the work life that we have built for ourselves. Most of us, we are working on a tight schedule. We are working in a competitive environment. We are working in an environment that is full of a lot of demands on our time. And so it's a part and parcel of modern life. It is there, and to a certain degree, stress is a driving force. Okay. Stress is not a problem because again, just like anger, stress is also an energy, and up to a certain extent that energy can propel you to do your work well. Only when it becomes more than your capacity, or when you think that it is more than your capacity, it's like we all need energy to do our work. Let's say electrical energy to do our work, but when the electrical flow of electricity becomes more than what our device can handle, the device is under stress and it explodes. It's the same thing like that. A stress to a certain extent, like anger, is a force that drives you. But when it becomes more than what you can handle, that is when it starts becoming. So how to keep the stress below that level, below your threshold, where you are able to handle it well and not crumble under its force? That is what stress management is all about. So are you aware that you're stressed? Are you aware of your stressors? Have you identified your stressors? And how honest you are about it, and what are you doing about it? Again, as I said, there's nothing wrong with being stressed. Just like anger, stress is a very natural thing. It's a part and parcel of our modern life. What matters is how you're able to handle it and how you're dealing with your stressors. That is what really matters. Then comes time management. Again, we all have 24 hours in a day. Okay. From the most successful person in the world, the most unsuccessful people in the world, we all have 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, 365 days in a year, one extra day thrown in the leap year. It is not that successful people have a 36 hours day or an 8 days week. So what is the difference? So amongst other things, how you utilize those 24 hours. Okay. If you think that you are hard pressed for time, and if you think that you don't have time, is it really that you don't have time, or is it that you're not managing that time well? That is one thing that you need to see. Okay. Next comes teamwork. I have already told you this. Coming together as a team with people of different backgrounds and temperaments is essential. All work that you do will be a teamwork. Okay. When you get into your professional life, everything that you do will be a teamwork. There will be nothing that you will be doing as a single entity, standalone entity. Everything that you do will be a teamwork. And most of the times you will not be able to choose the members of your team. They will be there. You have to work with them. You have to bring them together as an effective team, and you have to mold them into an effective team, and you have to work with them. Okay. That is what really matters. And it is a skill. A leader, why only as a leader, even as a member of a team, a leader, whenever you get into a leadership role, that is one thing. But even when you are at the junior most level in your organization, and when you are a member of a team, not in a leadership role till now, but you're just a member of a team, you have to start forming a team from then on. You have to realize that you are a member of a team, and you have to work with your team, and that is where the importance of teamwork comes into play. If you are a good member of a team, then you will be able to be a good leader. If you help others, they'll help you. If you support others, they'll support you. If you work well with others, they'll work well with you, and so on and so forth. So life and work is all about teamwork. There is nothing that is done singly. There are no standalone entities in life. It's all about teamwork. Next, natural corollary of teamwork is leadership. Leadership is a science and an art. Okay. Leaders are born and they can be made. A good leader, a person who is a good leader, is not only born as a good leader, the person can also be made into a good leader. Okay. So while natural talent is important, grooming a person for a leadership role is equally important. And if you are aspiring to be a leader, then there are certain qualities of leadership that you need to imbibe from the environment. You have to understand yourself. You have to understand your own strengths and weaknesses and work on them, and you have to imbibe certain qualities in yourself to be a good leader. Okay, of course, you can have your role models. It's a very good thing to have a role model, someone who inspires you to be a leader, but it is more important to develop your own style of leadership and to be the best leader that you can. If you just try to be a copy of someone else, you will be a very poor copy. But you, with your own unique leadership style and functioning style, if you can be a leader, nothing like it. So it's a test of qualities of all the person, all the qualities of a person. Again, as I told you in the beginning, all these soft skills or all these different behavioral skills, they are so interlinked with each other. If you talk about leadership, a good leader has to be a good team player, a good leader has to be a good communicator, a good leader has to be good at self-management, a good leader has to be good at teamwork, a good leader has to be good at positive attitude. These things, they matter a lot. That's what makes the person a good leader, a great leader. And again, as I told you, these qualities are, of course, inborn, but they can also be groomed. In fact, I would say the importance of environment and grooming is more. Just having these potential qualities is not enough. It is important that you groom them. So leadership is one thing that you learn as you go along. Everyone will get a chance to lead. Okay, or rather, I would say, rather than a chance, I would say every one of us will have the responsibility of leading at some point of time or the other. Then it becomes important for us to groom ourselves and make ourselves into the best leaders that we can be. Then comes ethics. Ethics, morality, integrity, honesty, character, these words, they are also interlinked with each other. Very, very important. We are living in a time where, sorry to say, but, a lot of negative people and wrong people are glorified, and a lot of role models that are put in front of us are not necessarily the people who score very high on ethics and morality. But you have to understand that in the long run, in life, ethics are extremely important. And, these are the moral principles that guide us. And again, very, very closely linked to your success in life. If you're an unethical person, if you're the kind of person who believes in dishonesty and dishonest work, people will like to be around you as long as they are benefiting from you. But the moment they feel that it is done and they have no more use for you, they will abandon you. As a leader, you need to be ethical, you need to be moral, because that is what gives you credibility as a leader. You cannot go and tell people to do sincere work if you are not doing your work yourself. You cannot tell people to be honest if you are indulging in unethical practices yourself. It's as plain and simple as that, and people notice, people understand. So it's very, very important. Doing unethical work, doing wrong work might have its benefits in the short run, and it might be very, very tempting to go down that way, but believe me, in the long run, it doesn't really serve you. And again, in your professional life, we'll all face ethical dilemmas. So it talks a lot about how you handle the situation. And again, coming back, it also talks a lot about your self-management, because ethical dilemmas or ethical situations will involve anger and stress and other factors, that you will need to manage yourself. Positive thinking, we all have heard and spoken a lot about positive thinking. Positive thinking is not imagining or convincing yourself that everything is hunky-dory and that there is nothing wrong in life. Positive thinking means that you acknowledge that there might be some negative things or wrong things around you, but positive thinking is about having an ability to, handle whatever life throws at you. That is what positive thinking is all about. And it is again something that can be developed. It is not that a person who is born positive will always be positive, or a person born with a negative attitude is always going to be negative, and that you are sentenced to that kind of a thinking all your life. No, positive thinking is something that can be developed with the right amount of training and right amount of grooming. You can develop positive thinking and go through with life. It simply talks about what side you are on. Every event in life that we undergo, everything that happens to us, there is a cause and there is an effect. So are you on the cause side or are you on the effect side? Are you passively receiving the effect of everything that is happening to you, or are you going on to the cause side and causing things that are happening to you? Are you playing a proactive role in, causing whatever results you want, or are you simply sitting around passively accepting the effects of what is happening to you? That is what, to a great extent, positive attitude is all about. It is about being proactive. It is about going out there and making things happen for yourself. You acknowledge that there is negativity around you, but you don't really get bogged down by it. That is what positive attitude is all about. Last but not the least, emotional intelligence. As I told you that it's a very, very big thing nowadays. Emotional intelligence is very, very important. And we are all human beings. We are all dealing with human beings. And, majority of our work will be done in a team, which will consist of human beings. So it is the ability to understand and manage emotions, your own and then others. Okay. If you can really understand, and when I say understanding doesn't mean accepting. Okay. When I say understand something, I'm not necessarily saying that you accept that thing. Understanding simply means having an awareness of that thing. And when you are understanding of your own emotions and the emotions of other people, and what drives them and what motivates them, and what drives you and what motivates you, you will be able to create a conducive work environment for yourself and for others, whether it's your colleagues, whether it's your seniors, whether it's your juniors. And if you really think about it, our emotions drive us a lot. We might not display emotions, or we might not really make a show of these emotions or even acknowledge them, but the fact remains that emotions drive people a lot. Emotions drive us in our day-to-day life, in our work life, in our personal life. And it's very, very important to understand and manage these emotions. Okay, especially for leaders, but not only for leaders, but for everyone. It is extremely, extremely important that you understand the importance of emotional intelligence. So that is, some of the soft skills that are important for us, some of the soft skills that determine our success in our professional life and our personal life. And it is very, very important that you understand all these soft skills. Now you might feel that such a long list of skills, how can we manage them? Don't worry, just don't worry about it. I'm there, and I'll be very, very happy to help you understand and learn and imbibe these soft skills. And I hope my presentation has been of help to you, and I hope it has been able to I've been able to explain to you the meaning and importance of some of the important soft skills in life. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the comment section. I'll be very, very happy to not only interact with you and answer your questions, but I'll also be very, very happy to help you imbibe these soft skills. And please keep in mind, extremely important, the importance of having a personality and the importance of having these soft skills. I cannot really, really overemphasize that, but I would urge you, and I would welcome you all to please come forward with your questions and help me understand what exactly your requirement of soft skills are. Thank you very much for your patient viewing and listening. And please remember, be yourself, be positive, and be happy, and always strive to learn, amongst other things, soft skills, as long as you're there in your professional life. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to answering your questions and interacting with more of you. Thank you.